Francesca Finch sailed into the dingy flat. She looked around her with disgust. The place seemed worse than ever, with its whitewashed walls that were more grey than white, and all the stiff, uncomfortable furnishings. Drab curtains hung where there ought to have been doors. The fire smoked, and the lone window was cracked, so that no matter how many rags they stuffed into the sill, a knife-edged draught still sliced through. "What happened, Fran?" Jack turned down one corner of the paper he was reading to look at her. He sat in front of their tiny hearth, with his feet propped up on the hob. A teapot and a plate of sandwiches waited on the table at his elbow. Apparently impervious to the cold, he was in just his waistcoat, shirt sleeves, and stocking feet. "Did you find the girl?" "Yes, I found her." Francesca jerked at the fingers of her black gloves. "For all the good it does us." She tossed the gloves onto the horsehair sofa and sent her black bonnet sailing after them. "Can't say I like the sound of that," said Jack. Jack Beecham was a handsome man, in a raw, unpolished way. He still kept the burly frame he'd earned as a prize-fighter before he had given up the sporting life to become a thief-taker. His naturally pale skin was permanently bronzed by sun and wind. His hands were scarred and calloused, and his long nose was crooked. His curling dark hair hung about his ears as long as any poet's. The combination gave him a roguish, dangerous look, like a highwayman from the old days. In contrast to broad, dark Jack, Francesca herself was a golden willow wand. She'd the luck to be born with bright blonde hair and lively blue eyes. Her mother said her face would be her fortune, but Francesca quickly learned that beauty, and the men it attracted, were not to be depended on. So she'd set about acquiring a set of skills to add on to her pretty looks. She gained her polish from a lady's maid who had fallen on hard times and was happy to give lessons in exchange for gin money. Now Fran could pass as anyone, from an upstairs maid to the daughter of a baronet. "Well, maybe sister of a baronet these days," she thought irritably. "It turns out the plaguey little creature managed to run to a friend, some serving girl, and collapsed just as she got there." Francesca dropped gracelessly onto the shabby settee, letting her arms and legs sprawl wide. "Before I could get proper hold of her, the girl's mistress showed up and whisked her away." Which was what truly infuriated her. She'd stood there and let this little chit be snatched, quite literally out of her grasp. "I should have said I was her aunt or sister or any blasted thing. I never should have let 'em bundle her off so easily." "But you followed them?" Jack prompted. "I didn't need to," Fran said, more to the ceiling than to him. "I know where they went." "Then what's the trouble?" "The mistress of this serving girl is the ever-so-troublesome Miss Rosalind Thorne." "Who?" Jack cocked a curious brow at her. Fran pushed herself upright. "Rosalind Thorne is the guard dog of London's Ton."